Level 7. You know what's worse than getting stabbed in the back? Getting stabbed in the back by the one you loved most, and then watching them smile while they do it. We're starting with a man who thought he'd retire at Old Trafford, until Sir Alex Ferguson had other plans. Now Becks didn't exactly get destroyed, but he definitely got blindsided. And when you're David Beckham, Mr. Class of 92, Golden Balls himself, getting pushed out hurts differently. Here's what happened. It's 2003. Beckham is living his best life. 6 Premier League titles, a Champions League trophy. He's a global icon. Then Sir Alex Ferguson decides Beckham's celebrity lifestyle is becoming a distraction. Translation: the haircuts were too good, the wife was too famous, and Fergie wasn't having it. The famous flying boot incident? That wasn't an accident, folks. That was Sir Alex sending a message. And that message was, "You're done here, mate." Beckham later revealed he didn't want to leave Manchester United. He got a phone call saying, "Hey, we agreed to a deal with Real Madrid. Pack your bags." Just like that. No negotiation, no discussion. Just bye. He was so devastated, he didn't watch United play for 3 years. Imagine loving something so much that you can't even look at it after it breaks your heart. That's like your ex getting engaged, and you having to delete Instagram for 3 years just to survive. But here's why Beckham is only level 1. He got a standing ovation when he left. Real Madrid paid £25 million for him. He went on to become even more famous. He landed in Hollywood, married Posh Spice, became a global brand worth hundreds of millions. So yeah, United betrayed him, but Beckham got the last laugh. He turned that pain into a billion-dollar empire. Revenge served ice cold with a side of fashion campaigns and MLS franchises. United pushed him out the door, and Beckham built a golden staircase on the other side. But what if you don't get the fairy tale ending? What if instead of Real Madrid calling, you get benched, humiliated, and accused of betraying the club that you saved? Oh, it gets darker, trust me. Level 6. Now we're talking. This one stings. Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest player in Manchester United history. Fight me. 3 Premier League titles, a Champions League, a Ballon d'Or. He was United's golden era. He left for Real Madrid in 2009, became an alien, won everything humanly possible, and then in 2021, he came home. The prodigal son returns. Gunnar Solskjaer is smiling. Fans are crying. Ronaldo scores against Newcastle on his debut, and Old Trafford erupts. It's a movie, and then it all goes to hell. Ole gets sacked. Ralph Rangnick comes in and treats Ronaldo like he's some random bench player. Despite that, he finishes the 2021-22 season as the club's top scorer with 24 goals. Then Erik ten Hag arrives in the summer of 2022, and their relationship is toxic from day one. The very next season, the man who just carried the attack is now frozen out, sitting on the bench watching Marcus Rashford miss sitters. His newborn son dies in April 2022, and according to Ronaldo, the club showed zero empathy. Let that sink in. The man loses his child, and Manchester United couldn't be bothered to check in properly. So Ronaldo does what Ronaldo does. He goes nuclear. The Piers Morgan interview drops in November 2022, and it's carnage. I feel betrayed by Manchester United. I have no respect for Erik ten Hag. The club showed no empathy when my son died. Boom! Contract terminated. Ronaldo walks away, heads to Saudi Arabia, and leaves United in shambles. Again, here's the thing. Ronaldo came back to save United. He scored goals. He delivered. And they treated him like he was the problem. The audacity. But why is this only level 2? Because Ronaldo is Cristiano freaking Ronaldo. He's got 5 Ballon d'Ors, over 600 million Instagram followers, and more money than a small country. He bounced back. He always does. Still, that homecoming dream turning into a nightmare? That's cold. Okay, so we've seen legends pushed out and superstars disrespected. But what happens when you give your entire life to one city, one club, one dream, and they don't even renew your contract? Yeah, it gets worse. Level 5. This one hits different because Daniele de Rossi is Roma, born in Rome, raised in Rome, played for Roma for 18 years, 615 appearances, World Cup winner, club captain, the definition of loyalty. He could have left for bigger clubs, more money, more trophies. Chelsea wanted him, Manchester United wanted him, but de Rossi said no, over and over again, because Roma was home, and in May 2019, with just weeks left on his deal, Roma casually decided, nah, we're good. Contract not renewed. Thanks for the memories. See ya. No warning, no proper goodbye, just you're done. The Roma Ultras were furious. They released a statement saying, "This is just the latest in a long line of betrayals. We cannot stand by and watch as our values are erased." Even the fans knew this was disgraceful. And here's the kicker. Francesco Totti, Roma's other legend, got the same treatment. Two club icons, two World Cup winners, two men who bled for that badge, tossed aside like they were nobodies. Rossi later said he would have stayed for one more year just to retire properly at Roma. He didn't even want a big contract. He just wanted to finish his story the right way. Roma said no, so De Rossi went to Boca Juniors for one season, retired, and eventually came back to Roma as a coach in 2024, because even after they broke his heart, he still loved them. That's not loyalty, that's Stockholm Syndrome. Why is this level 3? Because De Rossi wasn't publicly humiliated. There was no scandal. It was just cold, clinical, a quiet assassination, and somehow that makes it even sadder. But what if the betrayal wasn't quiet? What if your club forced you out after 16 years, and you had to sit through a farewell ceremony where even your president barely acknowledged you existed? Level 4. Raúl, El Capitan, Mr. Real Madrid himself, 741 appearances, 323 goals, 6 La Liga titles, 3 Champions Leagues. He was the club for 16 years. In February 2008, Real Madrid offered him a new contract. The headlines called it a contract for life. Quote, Raúl will retire at Real Madrid. That's what they said, publicly, on record. But just over a year later, everything changed. Florentino Perez happened. In June 2009, Perez returned as president and immediately went shopping. Kaká, Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema, the Galacticos 2.0 were here. And suddenly, Raúl's future became uncertain. Now, here's the thing. Raúl wasn't immediately kicked to the curb, but his final season told the whole story. He went from an undisputed starter to a part-time player, starting just 16 league games and scoring 5 goals. On paper, he was still playing, but anyone watching could see what was happening. The writing was on the wall, written in massive letters, in neon lights. Raúl went from being described as a definite starter to watching the new signings take center stage. He was 33 years old, still captain, still capable, but Real Madrid was building a new era, and that era didn't include him. The most painful part? It wasn't dramatic. There were no scandals, no public fights, just a slow, quiet realization that after 16 years of bleeding white, the club was ready to move on. And here's what made it worse. Florentino Perez and Raúl's relationship had never been warm. Even during the glory years, there was tension, a coldness. So when Perez got the chance to build his vision of Real Madrid, Raúl wasn't part of the plan. Luis Figo later confirmed what everyone suspected. Raúl wanted to end his career at Real Madrid, but it didn't happen. He was forced to leave. Forced. Not benched into oblivion. Not booed off the pitch. Just gently pushed toward the exit. With a smile and a handshake and zero intention of keeping him. No proper farewell ceremony. No statue unveiled. No tribute video montage. Just silence. Raúl left for Schalke in Germany in 2010, had 2 great seasons there, became a cult hero, but it wasn't home. It was never supposed to end like that. He gave Real Madrid 16 years. Every goal, every assist, every trophy, every drop of sweat, and Real Madrid gave him a polite nod and showed him the door. Alright, we're past the halfway point and things are about to get really ugly, because what comes next isn't just betrayal, it's backstabbing with a side of public humiliation. If you thought Raúl had it bad, wait until you hear what happened to Real Madrid's other captain. Yo, real quick before we continue, I just want to say thank you to everyone who left such beautiful comments on the last video. I'm genuinely surprised by how much you guys interacted with it. You're the reason I keep making these videos. So seriously, thank you. And hey, if you're enjoying this video right now and you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. It literally takes 1 second and it helps me out massively. Alright, back to the pain. Let's talk about Sergio Ramos. Level 3. Oh, Real Madrid, you cold-hearted, trophy-hoarding, legend-destroying machine. Sergio Ramos, 4 Champions Leagues, 5 La Liga titles, 671 appearances, 101 goals as a center back, the most clutch defender in football history. Remember the 92-48 header against Atletico Madrid in the 2014 Champions League final? That's Sergio Ramos, the man who saved Real Madrid's entire legacy. And in 2021, Real Madrid looked him in the eye and said, yeah, we're good. 1-year contract. Take it or leave it. Oh, and by the way, pay cut. Ramos wanted 2 years. He was 35, sure, but he was still starting for Spain. Still one of the best defenders in the world. He gave Real Madrid 16 years. Surely they could give him 2 more, right? Wrong. Real Madrid said 1 year or nothing. And then, here's the twist, they withdrew the offer, said it had an expiry date. Ramos didn't even know there was an expiry date. He was blindsided, humiliated, forced out. At his farewell press conference, Sergio Ramos, the toughest, most fearless player in football, cried on camera in front of everyone. He said, "I wanted to stay. I never wanted to leave Real Madrid, but they made it impossible." Florentino Perez wasn't even there. The president of the club didn't show up to say goodbye to one of the greatest players in club history. Let that sink in. Ramos left for PSG, won a League One title, came back to Sevilla, and is still playing in 2025. But it's not the same. He was supposed to retire at the Bernabeu. That was the plan. Real Madrid ripped that dream away from him. Okay, deep breath. We're entering the danger zone now. The final 2 levels are brutal. We're talking career-defining, soul-crushing. I'll never emotionally recover from this levels of betrayal. Up next, a man who's currently going through it right now as we speak, and it's about to get messy. Level 2. Oh boy, this one is still unfolding, and it's already a disaster. Mo Salah, Liverpool's all-time top Premier League scorer, 223 goals, 363 appearances, Premier League champion, Champions League winner, 2-time Golden Boot winner, an absolute legend. And right now, in December 2025, he's sitting on the bench for 3 consecutive games. Let that sink in. Mohamed Salah, Liverpool's best player, the man who single-handedly dragged them to glory for 8 years, benched. And after the 3rd game, Salah snapped. He gave an interview and said, "I have done so much for this club down the years, and especially last season. Now I'm sitting on the bench, and I don't know why. It seems like the club has thrown me under the bus." He continued, "I got a lot of promises in the summer, and so far I'm on the bench for 3 games, so I can't say they kept the promise." And here's the most devastating line. "I had a good relationship with the manager, and all of a sudden, we don't have any relationship. I don't know why." Folks, this is a man in pain. You can hear it. He's confused. He's hurt. He's betrayed. Salah signed a new contract in 2024 worth £400,000 a week, making him the highest paid player in Liverpool history. And just what year later, they're freezing him out. Why? Nobody knows. Liverpool is struggling in 10th place, losing games, and their top scorer is on the bench watching it all fall apart. And now, Saudi Pro League clubs are circling like sharks. Salah could leave in January. His final game at Anfield could be against Brighton this weekend. Imagine that. 8 years of magic, 8 years of goals, trophies, iconic moments, and it ends with him on the bench, feeling betrayed, unwanted, and disrespected. Why is this level 6 and not higher? Because it's not over yet. There's still time for Liverpool to fix this. There's still a chance for reconciliation. Maybe they'll sit down, talk it out, and Salah finishes his career as a Liverpool legend. And if Liverpool don't fix this soon, Salah's legacy will be forever tainted by how it ended. Not by what he achieved, but by how he was treated. Level 1. Francesco Totti, Il Capitano, Il Re di Roma, the King of Rome, 30 years at AS Roma. Think about that number, 30 years, from age 13 to 43. His entire life dedicated to one club, one city, one badge. 786 appearances, 307 goals. Serie A champion, World Cup winner. But more than that, he was Roma, the symbol, the soul, the heartbeat of an entire city, and Roma destroyed him. In 2016, manager Luciano Spalletti returned to Roma. At first, Totti was used as a savior off the bench, but by the start of the 2016-17 season, the mission was clear, fully backed by the club hierarchy. Force Francesco Totti into retirement. Totti said it himself. Spalletti arrived in 2016 with the express idea of making me retire, backed by the club. They didn't want him anymore. After 30 years, they wanted him gone, and they were going to make sure it happened. So what did they do? They benched him, game after game after game, Totti sat on the bench, watching Roma struggle without him. At 40 years old, he could still play, he could still create, he could still score. But Spalletti wouldn't let him. The fans were furious. They chanted his name, they demanded he play, but the club didn't care. In 2017, Totti finally retired as a player, but Roma wasn't done with him yet. They offered him a vague technical director role. No real power, no real responsibilities, just a title to keep him quiet and make it look like they cared. But they didn't even respect that. Totti was excluded from meetings. His input was ignored. Strategic decisions were made without him. They treated him like a mascot, like a relic to parade around when convenient, but never to be taken seriously. And in 2019, Totti had enough. He resigned, and when he did, he gave one of the most heartbreaking press conferences in football history. He said, "Today is like dying. It would have been better to die." Read that again. Francesco Totti said leaving Roma felt like dying, that it would have been better to die than to leave this way, but it gets worse. Totti revealed something even more devastating. He said, "Every time I drop my son Cristiano off for training at Roma, I stay outside the gate. Sometimes I sit in the car and feel like crying to think that after 30 years, I can't even set foot in there now." He sits in his car, crying, because after dedicating his entire life to AS Roma, he's not even allowed inside the training ground. That image should haunt every football fan. And here's what makes it even worse. Totti stayed when he could have left. Manchester United wanted him. Real Madrid wanted him. Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, they all wanted him. He could have won more trophies, made more money, achieved even greater glory, but he said no over and over again because Roma was home, because loyalty meant something to him. So there you have it, 7 levels of betrayal, from David Beckham's blindside exit to Francesco Totti's complete annihilation. Football is beautiful, but it's also brutal. It chews you up, spits you out, and moves on without a second thought. These players gave everything, and in return, they got heartbreak, humiliation, destruction. But here's the thing, despite all of this, we still love the game. We still watch. We still believe in loyalty, even when clubs prove over and over again that it doesn't exist. Because that's what football does. It breaks your heart and you come back for more. So quick question, where does Mo Salah's story go from here? Does he reconcile with Liverpool and get the ending he deserves? Or does he become the next legend to leave in heartbreak? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you made it this far, you're a real one. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and let's build a community of people who actually appreciate loyalty, even if football clubs don't. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.